So this week, I decided because I was having some uh, allergic symptoms, skin inflammation, blah blah blah.
Mm.
I decided to go on an elimination diet, the one that I've learned being a nutrition coach, the one that I was taught, the one that I know works, the one that I know sucks, but the outcome is really good. Um, so I decided to start on Monday. And again, I want to reiterate this. All diets are an elimination diet of sorts because they all eliminate stuff like we've talked about before, the three things. But nothing is quite like an elimination diet. When you go on an actual elimination diet, again, you're not limiting calories. It has nothing to do with calories at all. It's not about losing weight. It's not about gaining muscle. It's not about any of those things. I talked a little bit about this on my business page today. It's not about any of those things. It's about resetting your gut. It's about finding what you're allergic to and feeling better, sleeping better, just overall quality of life improvement is what you're looking for at the end of this. Again, if you're not allergic to something, you can have it. So you may not be allergic to gluten. You may be allergic to nightshade vegetables. You may be allergic to citrus. You don't know for sure. You're sure you could do the test, but really nothing tells you for sure like you actually taking the thing into your body. Now, you don't do this if you know you're definitely allergic to something because you already know that. So you wouldn't need this. This is for people that are like, I got eczema, I got psoriasis, I don't sleep well. Every time I eat, I feel gassy. Those people, those kind of symptoms, which we're going to go over. I have a little infographic that I use with my clients and that Precision Nutrition, which I'm a certified nutrition coach in, that this is what we use. And the great thing about them is everything is simple. It's simplified, and people like simple. Now, it's not simple to do. It's just simple what to do. The doing sucks a little bit. So I'll tell you my experience real quick. Then I'll tell you a little bit about the diet. And then I know Tom has an experience as well that he'd like to share with some allergic reactions that he has had. So in a nutshell, Monday I woke up, had all my stuff prepared because I knew. And I was going cold turkey on everything, which I'll get into in a minute, what all those things are. But the thing I'm going to narrow in on is caffeine right now, which we all use. Every bodybuilder uses it because it's in every pre-workout. It's in everything. It's in energy drinks, all of it. Whatever else they want to throw in there, there's caffeine in it as well. Unless it markets itself as caffeine-free, it's going to have caffeine in it. Okay, if it's about energy. So I had a lot of caffeine. I would have a lot of cold brews. I liked them. So I would have cold brews. Kept me going when I'd be working because I work different times of the day because my clients come different times of the day. So I'll have times in between and you kind of just get like a little bit sometimes. Or if you're in front of the computer editing something or doing something, you just feel drained. So that would always help a little bit get through the day. And so I would have two of those. Plus I would have an Arnold Palmer. Shout out to Salad and Go. Love you. I'm really sad I can't have you for a while, but I had you guys almost 5 days a week. I supported them. And plus they're right up the street. But so I had
the drink Arnold Palmer with lemonade, half iced tea.
Yeah. They have it at there's a chain out here called Salad and Go, and they have breakfast burritos, and then they have salads that you can also get in wraps. And it's quick drive through. You order online. They have great cold brew, and it's like I'm doing a convert. They don't sponsor me. Wow. I really love the place. I went 5 days a week for real. But if you want to sponsor me, Salad and Go, I'd be happy. I wouldn't turn you down. But yeah, so I would have 2 cold brews because again, I'm up at 6:30. Clients through the day doing different things, getting a workout in. whatever, and that would help. So I would have a tea, and then I would game at night with a buddy of mine, and so I would have the Arnold Palmer at night to get a little caffeine at night and have a little something sweet because I had a little bit of lemonade in it. Sometimes a lot of lemonade.
Yeah.
It depends how they poured it, but I can't have any of that. You can't have any of that shit right now. So, I didn't have my caffeine on Monday, and I was fine for half the day. And then about halfway through the day, I started getting a headache. It wasn't too bad, but it was annoying. And by the nighttime, it was excruciating to the point where I almost threw up. The pain I was having in my head. I was having cold sweats. I was going through withdrawal from caffeine. And I know people have more than that than I do. By far. I mean, that's a lot for maybe most people, but I know a lot of people have a lot more than that than I have. So, again, it's in pre-workouts and stuff. So if you're having pre-workouts plus coffees plus energy drinks, that's a lot of caffeine. So I know there's people out there that have a lot more than me. So I couldn't imagine if they did an elimination, they cut it all out, how bad their withdrawal would be. And again, maybe it's not, nothing's the same for everybody. It was pretty bad for me. Now, so I'm on day 4, and I still like the boring mental part of it hasn't hit yet because I'm coming up on Friday and I'm able to have a different thing. So it's going to help a little bit. But I bet by the end of next week or the beginning of the week after, I'll be getting tired of eating the same exact thing every day. So I think the mental thing will kick in, and that'll be hard. But for the last 4 days, it's been the physical thing. So by Tuesday, I still felt like my mind was clouded. It was weird. I didn't feel like myself. And then Wednesday, I felt a little better. And then Thursday, recording this, I feel almost back to 100%. Because again, I'm not limiting calories at all. I'm just eliminating food groups and certain things. So I'm still having proteins, fats, and carbs. I'm having all that, fruits and vegetables. It's just I have to cut out 80% of them, almost 85% of stuff. So I'm going to bring up this little infographic. So this is the elimination diet. So eating foods you're sensitive to can throw off your gut bacteria and enzymes, causing vicious cycles of poor digestion, infection, and inflammation. So all these things can happen. All these things. I'm going to highlight them. Oh, I can't highlight them. Okay. So decreased stomach acid, which you need for digestion. Rapid or delayed movement of food through digestive tract, which makes it feel like it's sitting in your stomach. That's a symptom of it. Poor nutrient absorption. And I've told this to a lot of my clients as well. Just because you're taking it in your mouth doesn't mean you're taking it in. It could just go through.
Yeah, absorption.
It's not, you may not necessarily absorb it. It may pass right through.
Yep.
Damaged gut cells. Again, that causes inflammation. Low immunity from invading pathogens. People don't realize how important the immune system is with your gut. I mean, I would hope some people know, but it's really important.
It's not something you grew up learning either.
No, of course not. Microbial imbalance, infection, decreased nutrient synthesis, increased inflammatory proteins, and intestinal permeability. So, if you're eating stuff, it's not just, wow, I'm really full. Maybe you got something going on. So here's some of the symptoms. I'll do one side at a time. Constipation, loose stool or diarrhea, burning in stomach, bad breath, gas. I'm sure a lot of us could check some of those off. I bet. Bloating, undigested food in stool. That's another thing. If you're passing food through, corn aside, maybe there's another one I'm missing, but aside from that, it shouldn't look like it when it went in.
Yeah.
Foul smelling stool and nausea and heartburn symptoms. Again, a lot of people have those. And what do? They treat the symptom, not the problem. They treat the heartburn
all the time.
Yep. Why am I getting the heartburn? They don't treat that.
Oh, you could treat it with Zantac like I did, and then you find out one day there's a class action lawsuit for cancer against it.
Right. Exactly.
Or you could just take apple cider vinegar and then cure it the more natural way.
Right.
But yeah, you're not solving any problems. You're just treating the symptom.
Exactly, dude. Exactly. So problems in the GI tract can ultimately disrupt hormonal, metabolic, and immune functions, potentially leading to. Now, here's all the things. And here's the symptoms from this happening, from you eating the food that you shouldn't, for you, whatever that is. Again, everybody makes fun of it. Is it gluten-free and all that? But some people literally do have intolerance to certain food, thanks to a lot of things I'm not going to get into. But there's a lot of reasons why that's happening, and it's happening. So here you go. Brain fog, asthma and allergies, autoimmune disorders, skin conditions, arthritis, heart disease, neurodegenerative disease, mood disorders, ADD, ADHD, narcolepsy, addiction, migraines, and kidney problems. Just a couple things.
Yeah, that's almost 95% of the population has that list.
Right.
Everybody has autoimmune these days. Everybody has autoimmune.
And here's this thing that sucks is you could be somebody that's eating well.
Crazy.
You're eating well. You're eating vegetables and fruits and whatever. You're doing all the things, but you may be eating something you have an intolerance to nonetheless and still having all these negative things happening. So, and again, everyone's different. There's no size fits all. There's not a one size fits all, unfortunately. So, so basically, you have to cut out certain things at certain times. So you're going to cut out gluten, obviously. You're going to cut out nuts, obviously. You're going to cut out certain vegetables, like nightshade vegetables. You're going to cut out citrus vegetables. You're going to have to cut out a lot of condiments. You're allowed some spices, which is good, but most condiments are out the window. Your fats are mainly coming from some meats. Most of the meat is low-fat meats. You can have, which I'm excited to have tomorrow, one of the meats you could have is like wild game type meat. So I'm having bison meat tomorrow. So I'm excited about that. To change it up a little bit. And there'll be more fat in that. But most of the time I'm having turkey, and there's not a lot of fat in turkey. So I'm supplementing that with like some olive oil and things like that. But no butter, none of that. And pretty much everything. Rice is okay. Buckwheat's actually okay. Buckwheat is not a high allergic thing. Again, nobody's saying that even the things that you're eating on this may not affect some weird in someone. Everybody's different. That's genetics and stuff. But 99.9% of people are not going to be allergic to the things you're going to eat during this time period. So I'm going to be checking in about this on my journey. I checked in today. So if you want to go to Realistic Fitness on Facebook or on YouTube or on Instagram, that's my business page. That's who supports this podcast. And I'm going to update there. And I'm also going to update when we're on here too, because it's going to be for 6 weeks with adding everything in, maybe even 7. But I mean, the worst of it is only about 4 weeks is when you really have to lock down. Because again, I've mentioned in other podcasts, between 3 and 4 weeks is when it's all finally out of your system, whatever you were intolerant to. Just because you stop eating it, it's not out. It takes a while to get it all out, just like drugs in your system, kind of, It takes a while to get out. So, Tom, and again, I've talked from I've had skin issues and all that stuff. Tom can also speak for some skin issues as well and allergic reactions to some things. Why don't you take it, Tom?
Yeah. Well, I always had crappy skin, so I'll preface it with that. I definitely, over time, I mean, it could be part of getting old or something else that's in the atmosphere or something else that's just in the food, because our food chain has changed so drastically from when we grew up to how, it is today. for instance, like the gluten, right? I found a really big benefit to avoiding gluten at all costs. Unfortunately, um, that means for a guy who's half Irish, I can't be drinking beer unless it's gluten free, and that freaking sucks ass. But it really sucks because I love my IPAs, but I just can't do it. It'll absolutely have an immediate effect on me. I'll be extremely tired. I'll have bloating, gas, everything on that list. And these days, like even bread, like I can't eat it. Like when we grew up, we had Wonder Bread in the 80s. That was every kid had peanut butter and jelly on Wonder Bread. These days, with a lot of the genetically modified grains, GMOs, which really suck. Even if you get GMO free, I still feel an effect. So I just avoid it altogether. So, because that's also an allergen. That's also something that would, it would basically, could spike, autoimmune issues and stuff like that. I've also had the problem over the last few years, which I can't exactly say what it was, but I had really, my skin just deteriorated and became really bad with eczema out of nowhere. All of a sudden, I was allergic to my boxer shorts. My boxer shorts basically were giving me this crazy reaction all around my waistline, where the waistband is. Now, this is a brand I had worn forever, and out of nowhere, I don't know what it was. I started breaking out like crazy and having these scaly, itchy patches all over. And then what I noticed was through, being my own advocate, I've talked about that before, Mike's talked about it, being your own advocate for your own health, and basically doing your own research. Really do diligent research, because your body and your health, that's your biggest investment in life. Without that, you have nothing. And basically, I think that by looking through it and finding through the gut microbiome that we were just talking about, that gut health is tied to everything. It's tied to brain health. It's tied to definitely to autoimmune health, to immunity. So I started taking probiotics, and all of a sudden I noticed, oh my God, my eczema is getting radically better. Also through elimination of sugars, anything sugary. I mean, honestly, I can't even cheat. Like me and Mike had this discussion earlier. My brother-in-law is a chocoholic, and he had chocolate, some German special bougie German chocolate with like cornflakes in it. And I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. It sounds like a Nestle Crunch bar, but with cornflakes. Like, I'll try it. Immediately after eating it, I was breaking out like crazy. All of my
eczema, crazy how quick it could
happen. Immediately, basically how long it takes you to process something through your GI tract, about 10, 15 minutes. It probably was that. I was eating it in the car with him. By the time I got to her house and we're chilling in the backyard, I'm like, oh my God, all over, itchy, all over the place. All of a sudden, I'm getting these spots, these freaking, raised, raised patches. And with eczema, it seems to be that these spots don't necessarily go away completely. They will just become inflamed over time, and you get it, over time, it'll come back. So immediately from eating that, I saw an immediate reaction, and I'm like, this just sucks. So I automatically know it's either something in the chocolate, but I've had dark chocolate before. I've had pure, cacao, 90% cacao or whatever, and I've been okay. I never had that reaction ever.
But again, that's different than probably what that chocolate was.
Yeah, where this probably just was like a milk chocolate, crappier milk chocolate with a lot of sugar. And as soon as they hit my stomach, boom, done. So with probiotics, I know some people may not like it, but because of fermented foods, so they say kimchi, which I like. There's an awesome Korean supermarket over here, so I get my fish there. I also get kimchi there. And sauerkraut, which I also really like. Sauerkraut is loaded with probiotics. So I noticed that since taking that, my skin radically changed. So there's something to be said for the microbiome of the stomach. The gut bacteria is tied to so much.
It's pretty much everything, dude. It's pretty much
everything. Really is. It really is. When I stray from that formula, everything goes downhill. So, but it's just crazy because I don't know why, but I always had crappy skin, but not like this. Not like this. As I got older, the eczema.
And
just
remember,
got
every
so
7
bad.
years, everything changes, dude. All the cells regenerate. You know, you get
Well,
new cells
there's something for that, and
yeah.
obviously, like I was saying, we don't know what's in the food today. They're sneaking things in constantly through the FDA is getting greased constantly by all these corporations to push stuff through
That's
into
why
our
you
food.
keep it basic.
You
Just
have to
keep
be
it basic.
You have to keep it basic, keep it natural, and
Look at the ingredients.
Be creative.
It should be less than 2. If you could help.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. Nothing out of a box is ever less than 2. Never.
Well, one thing that's around now, and maybe we could end on this. You have more options if you have the money to get meals sent to you. So there's a lot more options to eat better now than we ever had before. Like, what was our option? Like, oh, let's throw the buns of Burger King burgers out the window and eat the burger. That's our options. You know? So there is so many more options now and so many more places. It's just a shame that still the percentage of people that are unhealthy just sucks. It just sucks.
Well, it was cool throwing out the buns and throwing out the bread back then, but I don't think the gluten allergy was anywhere near as bad back then. And we're talking in our 20s, bro. So that's like, what, 20 years ago? More than 20, maybe 25 years ago, as we're getting up in our 40s. And
that little video at the end of our podcast, that's when it was. When we say bye, everyone, that's actually a video when we were in our 20s.
Yeah. And we would get rid of, excess carbs that we didn't want. So we would just take protein. We'd eat the burgers and stuff. And hey, we got to pour out some liquor for all the egg yolks that we sacrificed
back in the day.
For all the bullshit. Speaking again about bullshit information that is sold to you, the yolks were vilified. They vilified egg yolks for the longest time just to find out that that's the most nutritious part of the egg. And we were buying egg whites all the time. We used to get sandwiches all the time. Egg white only. You see all the bodybuilders, guys from the gym, egg whites only. And you're just like, we threw all those yolks out for what?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I used to have my ex-wife's grandma, who's a Hungarian, she's still going to this day. She's in her almost 90. She's sharp as a tack, walks. She's active. She's great. She used to look at us like we were freaking crazy. She's like, what's wrong with you? You're throwing out the yellow? Are you crazy? She's like, don't throw it out. Put it in a jar. I'll save them. She would cook with them. She was like, you're crazy. Why are you throwing the yolks out? And I'm like, because I was told that, it's cholesterol. And we bought into so much bullshit over life. You have to be your own advocate.
I want everybody to just take a minute. Don't listen to me. Take a minute and just go look up cholesterol. And just know that cholesterol is needed in the body. Just know that. It's not an evil
thing. And that's
thing.
made by the body.
Yes.
It's made by the body.
Some people, it is super high and they need help. But most people are just over their little scale. And take what you will from it. But I don't want the villainization of cholesterol because it's not bad. There is a certain kind that is bad, but cholesterol is not bad. And I wish people knew that. And another reason at that time, unfortunately, that they were getting rid of saying fat was bad and everything was
absolutely
fat and sweet are two flavors. Those are the two big flavors. Fat tasting like that salty fat kind of taste and a sweet taste.
Yeah.
Right? So if you take fat out of things, if you want people to eat it and it tastes well, what do you have to add?
Sugar. Some synthetic bullshit.
No, sugar. That's why back in the 80s and 90s, sugar was added to everything. Every fat-free thing, sugar was added or some kind of another name.
Well, then it was margarine, and then there was margarine and trans fats, and they were selling that to everybody in the 80s.
And then you come to find out margarine stays in your body for 4,000 years.
Yeah, what country crock of shit?
Yeah, dude, you know that stays in your
That's
body
exactly
for
what
like
it was.
400 years or something. Margarine, whatever it is, like a ton of time. It doesn't dissipate ever.
Yeah, now you see that trans fats are terrible, but back then they
Or
were
maybe it's
selling it to
40.
everybody.
No, maybe it's 40 years. Still, who wants something in their body for 40 years? 40, 400, 4,000? I don't give a shit. I don't want it in my body. Not margarine, especially.
No.
Give me butter. Give me butter, full butter. Give it to me. And
Yeah.
I'll tell you something else. The best milk I ever drank was whole unpasteurized milk I got from a farm out here. The sweetest, most delicious milk I've ever had in my life. And that's just my experience with it. Do what you want. But I'll tell you something. I do have an issue here and there. I think with some dairy sometimes, like cheese never, but too much ice cream or something, that would wreck me. But I never had an issue.
But that's the thing. Are you having
milk.
ice cream that has sugar in it, or are you having ice cream with like stevia?
Both.
Yeah, that's the thing.
If it's dairy, certain things.
No good.
But come to find out that what the thing that people are actually having allergic or intolerance to is something that happens in the milk when you pasteurize it.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of articles on that. Unfortunately, I don't have to bring it up. So, take what you will from it. Don't listen to me, but you should look it up. But a lot of times that's what the intolerance is. And people who have had intolerances to dairy and have tried whole unpasteurized milk didn't have a problem.
Or raw, they say raw milk, right? They call it raw milk.
It's raw milk, yes.
Yeah.
Exactly what it is. And it wasn't cheap. I got a gallon for $10. The shit wasn't cheap, but I got it right from the farm.
Tastes like it was blessed by the gods.
Yep, it did, dude. It was really tasty.
I bet.
So again, take what you will, do your own research. I'm telling you my experience, my knowledge as a trainer, as a nutrition coach for over 20 years, a trainer, but I think it's been 15 or 14 years as a nutrition coach. I don't know, somewhere around there. This is what I've researched. This is what I've experienced with clients, or I've read, or I've seen. But again, I'm just trying to spark a little thought. Go do your own research and think about it. But